All right, hello. Welcome to another episode of The Doctor's In. I'm your doctor, C.G. Weinberg, and this video, I think I was made to do, or at least gifted a particular experience to give me a special insight for this book. Now, sorry if you're getting bored of Cicero. I like him. Last one, probably for a while. One more take on this book, because there's one more book in here that I think is worth talking about, and it is called On Old Age. Now, if you're looking at me, you probably don't think I'm old. I'm mid-30s at this point. For the sake of YouTube community, I mean, if you really want to, go find my age somewhere else, but I'm mid-30s. I have lots of kids, several, 5 so far. This is not a pregnancy announcement. We are not having another baby right now. But for all intents and purposes, I am still a young man. If you know me, you know that I'm not really a young man. For instance, whenever we get new teachers in and my students are like, "What, you're younger than them?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh." And it's always a new batch of students because, ironically, you get new students every year. They're like, "We thought you were in your 40s. And I'm like, "No, I'm still in my 30s. So yeah, I've been called an old soul before. Something. When people ask me how old I am on my birthday, I tend to like to say I am still younger than I look. I'm still younger than I feel. But if you don't know my story, I did die when I was 17. And maybe I should just do a video on just my death day story. It tends to take me a while to tell it, so I don't tend to tell it in its full content very often. Maybe I'll do that sometime soon. But I died when I was 17, cardiac arrest. I was an athlete since then, so it's been a while. I'm in my mid-30s, I was 17, so roughly half my life I have been surviving as a made alive again person. I was 40 minutes on the pulse. I have since then run 3 times, 2 of which has resulted in me getting shocked by my defibrillator, my slow and steady, my lightning button, my arc reactor. Ironically, I died the same year that Iron Man came out, the first one. He got his arc reactor here, I got mine over here. Kind of fun story. Fun timeline at least. But when speaking of old age, I do feel like I have something to talk about from a young man perspective of it. So I died my junior year of high school. Ironically, just about 2 weeks ago was my 17th death day, which then if you have to do the math, you now know how old I am. So yeah, my junior year happened, then I had my whole senior year. It was a big shebang. Lots of people were praying for me. Anyway, when looking at Cicero, he is an old man writing this. Again, I've given several intros on Cicero in past videos. I don't have several videos, so if you watched any of them, you've probably heard me talk about Cicero so far. But weirdly, he did most of his writing at the end of his life. He was kind of living in exile, basically bouncing back and forth between his old estate and then the courts. Old estate, courts. And when he's on his old estate, basically he was just writing. I'm pretty sure he had an idea he was going to die soon. So he wrote a lot the last couple of years. I believe this book was also written in 44 BC, which was also his last year of life. So he's writing it because people are complaining about getting old, and he's like, guys, it's not that bad. And he found 4 main complaints against being old. One that you hear from people is, it takes us away from active work. 2, it weakens the body. 3, it derives us from practically all physical pleasure. And 4, you're not far from death. Now, those are all legitimate things about getting old. A few of these I can understand. So like the first one, it takes us from active work. You know, I haven't run for a while. I no longer help people move. I have moved several times since I died. But the last time I helped someone move, like really help them move, I will sometimes show up and lend moral support and just kind of fill in what jobs that I can do. The last time I really helped someone move, I set my defibrillator off by carrying a washer. It was a dryer washer, one of them, down a flight of stairs into a truck, and like last one, we're moving the washer one more time to put it down, and my defibrillator goes off, and like actually shocked it twice because it wasn't working right. Again, modern technology can save your life and make you miserable. I wasn't miserable, but getting shocked twice is really not fun. Shocked me twice and basically made me useless the rest of the day for like 3 days. It's not very fun, so I don't help people move anymore, and that's why. So those of you that watch this and like, why doesn't Grant ever help people move? Why does he always ask other people to help him move and doesn't come help other people? That's why. I don't like getting electrocuted. It's not very fun. I don't like doing it. So yes, all that. But when normal people get old, their bodies break down, and it does remove them from active work. And I really do actually like Cicero's take on this one. And unfortunately, it's not a take I can take for myself. But he's like, guys, if you're getting old, you shouldn't be the one doing work anymore. You should be the one leading. You should be the master at the front. His example is actually on a ship. So the old man should not be the one climbing up the mast, rigging sails and doing all that jazz. He should actually be the captain running the boat. He should be steering the ship. He should be giving the orders because he knows more. Duh. The old guy has the experience, has the knowledge, should be accumulating knowledge to go and tell other people what to do. That's part of getting old, is gaining wisdom. So like the Proverbs, the glory of young men is their strength, and of old men is their gray hair. Ironically, the glory of young men is, the correct translation of that verse is actually their virtue. So having correct actions having correct actions would be a good way of looking at virtue. Arate would be the Greek word for it, which is excellent in action, if I remember the correct translation of arete. A-R-E-T-E. Depending on who you talk to, depends on how you pronounce the language. But the glory of young men is their virtue, and the glory of old men is their gray hair, i.e. their wisdom. You should have wisdom at an old age, and then your job is to give it away. Help the young men grow up. Stop acting like the young men and act like the old men. Give direction, give leadership, give help. Now, I'm not old, and so and by losing the ability to act like a young man, I've had to really kickstart my own search of wisdom. So I read a lot. Hence Cicero. I've read a lot of Cicero. I've read him several times. I've read a lot of philosophers. I've read a lot of old books and dead guys because I need to become an old man. I can't act like a young man, so I need to become an old man as fast as possible. And that is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to share the old manness that I've picked up so far. So, be the boss. His second point, weakens the body. And actually, he kind of gave a jab back that my father would appreciate. If you haven't seen his channel, it's Fit Fashion Grandpa. So he's in his 60s and he doesn't look like it. But Cicero does actually give a jab back at this one. He goes, listen, if you actually take care of yourself, you actually won't lose your body. Your body won't weaken. It only weakens because you abuse it in your youth. I actually like that. But he then also says, beside the point, if you did abuse your youth, if you did abuse your body, you actually are responsible to do what you can. So you should be a leader first off, and then with the strength you have, do what you can. Yeah, you might be weaker, but hey, you're not dead yet, so keep doing what you can. Which then gets you right into deriving from all practical physical pleasures. Let's see. Movie with Robert De Niro and Morgan Freeman, I believe. I know it's Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman has terminal cancer. I think it's for the bucket list, if I remember right. Basically, that dudes are dying. I'm not. Cut, delete that portion. I'm actually not going to leave it. I'm going to leave it in for the sake, because it takes away from my point. But, so, losing practically all physical pleasure. You get overweight, your body stops working, you can't do what you used to do. And Cicero's whole point is actually, as you get older, your pleasures should change. So like, for an example that he didn't give, but I would give, is I used to really enjoy working out and running. And people will ask me, do you ever miss playing? And honestly, I don't miss playing the sport. Weirdly enough, I've never really had like long hair, but I really miss feeling the wind against me. So I still can get some of that sensation when I play golf on a windy day and the wind is tugging against you. I actually miss the feeling of running fast enough to have the wind tug against me. But like, I still enjoy seeing athletics done excellently. Depending on the sport, depends on where you can find that. Sometimes college, sometimes pros. But again, depends on the sport. Like the NBA, not pleasant to watch. NFL, not super pleasant to watch. I still PGA golf. You know what? That is the best place to go and watch excellent golf. Teaching high school girls how to golf is actually not excellent golf. It's rewarding because you can see massive improvement. But and I've coached high school girls golf. It's not fun. They try. That is about all you can say for the excellent part. I mean, there are good girls golfers out there. Our program this year is our second year, so we're new. So our most senior player currently has been playing for 2 years. So they're not going to be great. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. But like, it's not very fun to watch high school girls play. They don't have the type of power that actually is fun to watch balls pick up. But like, pleasures just do change. So like with my kids, I really enjoy watching them play. I really enjoy watching what they do. I enjoy giving them the skills and knowledge of what to do and seeing them go and do things. And so yeah, pleasures just change. I used to want to go and play sports, and now I want to actually sit around and talk. I want to have a nice glass of wine. I want to smoke my pipe and have conversation. I don't actually want to be going and playing games and wasting time. Nothing against playing games. I just actually don't enjoy playing games because if I'm going to play, I want to win. And if I want to win, I'm not going to be sitting there talking. Like playing chess. I really enjoy playing chess. But I'm not going to have a conversation really in playing chess because I'm trying to strategize to win. And I'm trying to have a poker face to make sure you don't see the move I'm trying to plan on you. So yeah, I don't really like playing chess with most people in person because that's not a good use of an hour. I like playing chess online because you can make a move in 5 minutes. Or if you're stuck, you can think for a day. Keep going back. But you don't have to spend an hour to 3 playing a game. But yeah, I mean, pleasures just change as you get older. I think it comes with maturity. You learn what actually is important and you go with that. And finally, his point is, the last point is, you're not far from death. And Cicero's point to that one is, if you lived a good life, what is there to fear? Thinking of, terrible, but it actually is a great scene in the book, to equate this book to Cicero. But I mean, the scene's really good. So in Harry Potter, I know, I went there, when they're talking about the Deathly Hallows. And the third Deathly Hallow is the invisibility cloak that allowed one to hide from death. So the brother who got that one basically spends his whole life hiding from death. Death can't find them. And he actually is a true master of death because he understood what life was about. And so at the end of life, he took out the cloak and welcomed death like an old friend. And I think that's a really good picture of what at the end of life. Life is a race. There should be an end to it, and you should be planning for the end of it. So as you get older and you're fearing the end, but I mean, that's the point. No one gets out of life alive. Which then brings up another quote I like. So my senior year, again, I just died the year before, and you have to have a senior quote. And I actually don't remember what, I want to say, no, my senior year, our snow retreat for youth ministry was on Jonathan Edwards. And he was a stud theologian, early 1700s, the first Great Awakening in America. So he was born in 1703, and in 1723, so 20 years old, he wrote this resolution. So he actually famously wrote 70 resolutions on how he lived his life in his early 20s. So this one is resolution 52. And he wrote this at 20 years old. So the whole resolution 52. I frequently hear people in old age say how they would live if they were to live their lives over again. Resolved that I will live just so as I can think I shall wish I had done, supposing I live to old age. So thinking as a 20-year-old, to live your life how you think you will wish to live it at the end of your life. And I put that as my senior quote because I had died, and so I was thinking about death a lot, and that one really hit me hard. How do I want to live my life? Thinking about how my old self would like to live. And I think it's a real good gut check. So something we do for our sophomores and juniors in their rhetoric class is one of the things they have to do is actually write their own eulogy. So what do you want people to say about you when you die? And live your life backwards, basically from there. So how do you want to be remembered and to live like that? Which I think is a fine exercise to do, especially for young people, get them to think about beyond tomorrow. I mean, senior year is really the first time that they grasp, that I'm seeing that they grasp how fast life starts to move when you get older. Like weeks just disappear on me at this point. It's kind of crazy. Months go by and I don't even realize it's a month already. Like the school year just started and we're in spring break. It's quite annoying. And I know it's only going to go faster as I get older. So, yes, resolve to live how you think you should live. Now, for a Christian, why should you read this book? Well, you should consider your death. Young people, particularly, read this book to think about how should you live your life. It's in front of you. What are you going to do with it? How do you want it to turn out? So, consider your death. Another old soul in our church, Philip Kuleshov, came across this saying recently, and he shared it with a bunch of people in our church and circle. He likes it. Instead of considering your death, consider your legacy, which I like to spin. Similar, but I mean, it's a good spin on it. So consider your legacy. What are you going to leave behind? He also thinks about the parable in the New Testament, and I'm blanking. He references it in his message. I can put the chapter in my notes below of where the reference is. But the parable that Jesus tells of the good and faithful servant, you go to the end of your life, and the parable is, so I gave you 5 minas. Great, you will now be in charge of 10 cities. So live your life with what you have today to be worthy of being in charge of 10 cities. And that's not a bad thing to think about. So be so responsible with the gifts you have now that you are worthy of being the king of 10 cities. So consider your legacy. Another way I would look at it is to live beyond your frailties. Everyone has giftedness, which also means everyone has weaknesses. And we tend to get bogged down by our weaknesses and our limitations and be like, I can't do X, or I can't do Y, or I can only do X, or only do Y. And that is actually just straight up false reality. I heard it saying a long time ago, and I don't remember exactly where I heard it first, but so 2 of them. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Or those that fight for their limitations get to keep them. Both are saying similar things. If you're going to look at your frailties and say, I can't do something, congratulations, you're right, you can't do it. But if you're going to face your weaknesses, face your frailties, face the things that you struggle with and say, I can't do it now, or I can't do it yet. How can I figure this out? Well, that's a superpower right there. Looking beyond what you think you can do. I think that there's great wisdom in that. I often have students say, I'm not good at math. It's like, no, it's just, it takes you longer to figure out. Doesn't mean you're not good at it. Once you figure it out, you're awesome. But it just takes you longer to figure it out. So spend the time to figure it out. You'll be rewarded for it. So don't fight for your limitations. Go forth. Live like you're going to die. In the words of the great sage Tim McGraw, live like you were dying. Great song. If you want this snippet in a 3-minute song, I'll post it. I'll tag it below. You can go check it out there. Great little segment. I also heard that song around the same time as my death. To live like you're dying. But really, considering your death should not be a morbid exercise. It's actually a life-bringing exercise. It gives you a direction on where you want to go. So consider your death in order to live your life. Don't look at your limitations. Look at how to overcome them and excel. God has gifted you with things. Go and use them. Figure out how to use them better. And go forth and do likewise. So, with that, if you like this, give me a like. Again, if you want to suggest a book, give me a suggestion. I'm open to things. I like to read. If you want to hear my take on something, give it to me. If you want to hear about the next time I post something, subscribe. And if you think this would be helpful for something, if someone's going through a hard time, if someone is getting to their end of days and they're freaking out, or they're not aging gracefully, as I would put it nicely, share this with them. They could actually use some encouragement from Cicero on the book on old age. It actually is quite good. So I would suggest you all to do it because, you don't get to be paralyzed by your old age. Face it with grace, with dignity, and just go forth and do it. So share this if it would encourage someone. And with that, the doctor's out.